Hi friends, welcome to today's video. My name's Stephanie and today I have another chatty video for you all where I'm going to be talking about nail polishes that changed my brain chemistry. Now I know that might seem very dramatic to some people, but I'm sure to so many of you who are also nail polish enthusiasts like myself, you know that there are just some polishes that you look at and your mind is blown, your third eye is open, everything just falls into place, everything makes so much sense because you just came across this polish. So I have a couple of those to talk about today, so let's just get into it. So the first two polishes I'm actually going to be talking about together because in my mind they are like sister shades where I can't just talk about one without talking about the other. So the first polish that I have is Potion Polish's Painted Sky at Dusk. This one came out a couple of years ago in a summer release, and I remember just seeing the swatches and my mind being so blown. It's just this beautiful, gorgeous, glowy shimmer that's like a golden kind of shimmer in this corally pink base. I'm such a sucker for that color combination. It just always reminds me of like really intense sunsets, which obviously the name is a reference to that as well. I feel like this just captured the vibes so perfectly. It is just so like awe-inspiring. And even though I was already blown away just from like the photos of the swatches, I will never forget like how my jaw dropped when I actually painted this on myself. Doing the first swipe alone had me shook. And I'm sure you can guess the sister polish to that is Kathleen & Co.'s Follow Your Dreams. This was a previous polish pickup shade that fingers crossed will come back this year because it is just so stunning. It has a similar kind of golden shimmer, but this is in a slightly darker, maybe magenta leaning base color. So definitely very similar vibes here, but I just could not choose between them. And they again both have just like the perfect combination of elements with the shimmers, the color combination, even the names for both of these are just so like magical to me. Where this one specifically is inspired by The Alchemist, which is one of my favorite books. I just love how it like sets your heart ablaze, you know, like this is such a perfect freaking color. The next polish I have is KBShimmer's Skiing is Believing. This one blew my mind because this is basically like a pink multi-chrome. So longtime viewers of my channel have heard me say time and time again that I'm not the biggest fan of multi-chromes, but I feel like that's not even true anymore. It's just one of those finishes that I don't usually gravitate to because I find more often than not, multi-chromes are usually in these like darker bases, like usually a black base, which offers the best contrast for all of those like color shifting shimmers that you see. And so to swatch this one, which has like a lighter kind of pink base, I was just so blown away by it. I was like, wait a minute. Okay, maybe I actually do like multi-chromes. This is so freaking gorgeous. It basically does have the same multi-chrome shimmer as their other shade called Hidden Potential, which has like a deeper plummy purple base. But again, this is the one that just like really did something to my brain where I was like, okay, no, actually multi-chromes are really gorgeous, especially when they come in these like lighter type of colors. I feel like I don't see them super often, so if you do have any others that are kind of in a similar vein to this one, I would love to know. I have another pair of these quote unquote sister polishes. The first shade here is Cirque Colors Flamingo. This one came out in the California Dreamin' collection originally a couple of years ago, but it was re-released last summer. And it is this absolutely stunning neon pink with a light kind of aqua blue shimmer and a dainty hollow sparkle. As I'm sure you all know, I love this particular finish where it just is so dainty and like ethereal. Cirque has a lot of these in like more softer colors, but having this neon pink makes me go feral. I am so happy that they brought this back because I wasn't really like a Cirque fan, I guess, when this originally came out. So this like collection kind of, you know, wasn't on my radar. It was only maybe the year before this was re-released that I was probably gushing about like my favorite pinks video or something, and talking about some of my favorite neons, and somebody had commented saying, oh, my favorite pink is Cirque's Flamingo, and I was like, oh, I don't think I know that shade. I looked it up and my jaw dropped. I was like, this is the most perfect shade of neon pink. Like, it was such a shame that, it was limited edition. It wasn't around anymore. So I am so, so happy that they brought this back last year, because it is just like the perfect neon pink for me. I guess if anything, my one kind of gripe with it is that even though it does have this like blue shimmer, which, I love that combo, the blue shimmer in this is definitely on the more like subtle side, where on the nail, it kind of just ends up looking very like icy and silvery almost, which I still do like because it kind of just gives it this like wet, almost chromy kind of look. So, it still works for me. I mean, obviously I can't be mad at this base color, but when it comes to a brighter blue shimmer, next, I have to talk about Polish for Days Barbie on the Boardwalk. Again, I feel like, I can't talk about one without the other. They are pretty similar, not exact dupes. I mean, I think the base color in the Polish for Days shade is like a little bit darker, but it does have that stronger blue glowy shimmer that I just adore. This one sadly was another Polish Pickup exclusive shade that originally launched a couple years ago, I want to say, but it came back for Rewind last year, which was when I picked it up. I had passed on it the first time because I was like, I already have hot pink, neons. I didn't even have Cirque's Flamingo in my collection at the time, but I just had other shades. Like, I think Mooncat's Merkitten was the one that I was like, it's close enough. I don't need this one. But of course, months later, I end up regretting it after seeing more swatches of this come out. I was like, oh my God, it is so freaking pretty. And so even though last year the Cirque shade did launch before this one came back, I still did decide on grabbing this, obviously, because I was like, I just need both. Like, this is one of those shades that I need to have in my collection. You guys know that pink polishes with a blue shimmer are just like my weakness. I made a whole video on them, especially covering like the lighter shades of pink. But when it comes to like these neons especially, oh my God, they just do something to me. Like, this is the color combination that I could wear every single day without getting tired of it, especially in the summer. Like, seeing it on my nails when it's 90 degrees out and I'm by the pool, oh my God, it is perfect. Speaking of super glowy shimmers, the next polish I have is Polish for Days Lush. This one came out in the spring collection last year, and I recently talked about it in my spring favorites for this year. It is absolutely magical, being this like super glowy aqua kind of shimmer that shifts to a darker blue, like indigo color in extreme light, and it's all in this lovely lavender kind of base color. There's something about this one that is just so incredibly glowy that just, it takes my breath away whenever I see swatches of it, whenever I wear it. I just love shades like this so, so much. They just give me all the like ethereal fairy kind of vibes. Like, it just reminds me of fairy wings in lower or indirect light. It just gives me this look of like cellophane. It's just absolutely magical. Like, I can just never get enough of like shades like this. And this is another one that I just had to talk about again because it is that good. And I can't talk about glowy blue shimmers in a pink base without talking about ILNP's Flower Child. Obviously, this color combination has been done to death by so many brands, and I'm always going to be like a sucker for it in general, but there was something so satisfying about ILNP's take on it because their shimmer polishes are just so ethereal and glowy. They usually have these more like sheer jelly kind of bases, and these also have like a lot of holographic sparkle in them. So I feel like this, even though we've seen it before, is still a little bit different because of how sparkly it is. Like, other polishes that I have that are very similar to this do have like a more sparse, like hollow flaky kind of particle, but this one is just like packed with that hollow micro glitter. It is just so freaking pretty. Like, there's not much else to say. this is one of those shades that like you just know it, you love it. She is that girl. I know I'm talking about a lot of glowy pinks, but I do have a few darker shades that still like rocked my world. And the first one is another ILNP shade. This one is Enchantment. This is a tealy green kind of magnetic that came out in a spring collection a few years ago. And as you all know, I'm a seasonal wearer through and through, but this was still easily like one of my favorite polishes from that collection. And honestly, from like the whole year, I loved this shade so much. It's just like this specific color combination that I feel like I don't see a lot in nail polishes. It just was so unique, so breathtakingly gorgeous. I'm especially a fan of ILNP's magnetic formulas because even though they are a little bit on the jelly side, they are still super pigmented, so you can build them up. A lot of them also have like a very similar or kind of like complementary matching shimmer, and they also have this like dainty hollow flaky in them outside of that to just really give it this extra sparkle. It really lives up to the name so well. Like I just get all of those enchanting, mystical fairy forest vibes from this shade. It is so beautiful. I have one last pair of sister polishes, and the first one here is Mooncat's Gates of Hell. This one came out in the middle of summer in this Underworld collection, which I just love Mooncat for doing that. Like again, even though I'm a seasonal wearer, I'm not really gonna wear a black polish in the middle of summer. This is one that I like consider doing it. It changed my brain chemistry that much where I was like, wait a minute, I absolutely adore this. This was also like one of my first black to red multi-chromes in my collection, which I know I'm very late to that, but seeing that shift to red in extreme light is so freaking beautiful. And with this one being like a black to red multi-chrome, I always mention how to me this definitely leans a little bit more like a plummy purple. It's not like a true black, but I really love that about this one. I feel like it just makes it more unique than a typical black to red because we see that a lot from other brands. And again, this one also has like this extra holographic sparkle that just makes it so freaking beautiful. Like this awesome combination of being so dark and vampy and like badass, but also just being so pretty. And the sister polish to that is Night Owl Lacquer's Scary Stories. This was one of my first Night Owl Lacquer shades, and I just was so in love with it because on paper, you know, it's another kind of black to red multi-chrome, but this one has these additional like light lavender colored metallic flakies that just set it apart so much. It's such an unexpected element to this base color where like, you know, adding a little hollow sparkle always makes everything better, but adding a light purple, like I don't know, it just is so unique and so freaking beautiful, so I just couldn't choose between them. This next polish is one of the newest additions to my collection, and that's Sassy Sauce's A Decade of Decadence. This one was a part of HHC last month, and it is this absolutely breathtaking, gorgeous, magnetic multi-chrome, which like I mentioned before, you know, we always see these like darker kind of multi-chromes, and you know, it's not one that I usually go for, but this one took my breath away. I was just so blown away by how freaking gorgeous this like color combination is, because once you magnetize it, you can see this like intense cobalt blue shimmer like all on the outside, and the magnetic shimmer is just so fiery. It is like this beautiful color combination, and I love that so much. I just love like a really unique shade, and this one just feels so unique, so freaking gorgeous. A beautiful addition to my collection. And the last polish that I physically have to talk about in this video, which honestly, I should have also talked about in my cult classics video is Sally Hansen's Pacific Blue, but the OG formula. And another thing that I had to mention, like that also changed my brain chemistry, was Nicole from Young Wild and Polish's video ranting about the formulation change. I still remember like where I was when I saw that video blowing up, because this was back when I like was just starting to get into nail polish. You know, I had a couple of like Essie shades and OPIs, maybe a couple of other Sally Hansen shades that were just like, you know, pastels and pinks and purples. And this is one of those colors that I admittedly like wasn't really drawn to, at least like to wear on myself. I feel like, you know, it's a beautiful shade, right? But it just was one of those shades that I personally wouldn't have bought and wore. But seeing her video on this polish and how Sally Hansen is absolutely stupid for reformulating it, that changed my brain chemistry, and it just made me appreciate this polish so much more. I feel like it looks new because I just gave it a good shake, but it's about like a little bit over halfway, and this is my first bottle. I do have a backup bottle of this shade. I know I'm not the only one that has one. It is like the perfect, I'm pretty sure, one coat cobalt blue, just so freaking beautiful. Like, again, it was just like a sign of the times, you had to be there sort of moment, because I really don't understand why Sally Hansen would change it, because not only did they change the color to be this like darker blue that I think also had some shimmers, maybe I'm like misremembering that part, but even the formula was like so much worse, where again, this is like a one coat kind of cream, super buttery smooth, so pigmented, but the new one was like gummy and streaky. It didn't self-level the best. So, but they still called it Pacific Blue. I have no idea why they would do such a thing. Like, maybe it could have been that like this pigment that they used was like discontinued, because, you know, sometimes that happens, but I feel like they should have said something about it instead of just changing it completely but keeping the same name and then pissing everybody else off, you know? Like, it's been years since I watched that video, but I'm just like getting mad all over again and feeling that passion from Nicole. Just like, it just changed something in me and just made me like a solid nail polish enthusiast. And the very last polish that I want to talk about, I sadly don't have anymore, but this was like one of the oldest shades from my collection. It was one of the first ones that started my nail polish collection and journey, and that is Avon's Apricot Mystery. I know it's like so random. I mean, it's just this really warm kind of pink with like maybe a little bit of a coral undertone, but I just vividly remember like where I was when I painted that on my nails for the first time. I remember I was even like on the phone with an ex-boyfriend of mine, and obviously not remembering what he was saying because I was just so blown away by how beautiful this color looked on me. I feel like at that point I had been wearing like other, you know, bright, colorful shades like Essie's Cute as a Button or Playdate, which were like, you know, some of my favorite shades that I would go back to over and over again. But for some reason, this shade from Avon called Apricot Mystery just like changed something in me, and I was like, oh my god, this is the most beautiful color. This was like made for me. It pains me so much that I don't still have like my old bottle of it, because I would love to have it to see like what other shades are similar. My best guess is like maybe Essie's Stones and Roses, which is like another warm kind of pink. I'm sure there's something from like OPI, but I would love to know like a dead on dupe, or honestly just even having like the original Avon. It's just such a special polish in my heart, even though I know it's like not anything special color-wise, especially in this day and age. Like, we've seen it before, but it's just really special to me. So that wraps up my list of nail polishes that changed my brain chemistry. As always, I would love to know what you think of the shades that I talked about in this video. I, of course, would love to know some of the polishes that changed your brain chemistry, or whatever other hyperbolic statement you would say, because I just love that we all have this like intense passion for specific polishes where it almost like doesn't make sense how much these certain colors mean to us, but at the same time, we fully understand. So I know that you guys will understand, and I hope that you enjoyed this video, but make sure to let me know any and all thoughts you have down below so we can chat about it. But thank you so much for hanging out with me today. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!